Every year, millions of homeowners make the exact same mistake without even realizing it. They walk into a garden center, pick up an expensive bag of fertilizer, spread it across their lawn, and confidently expect to see a thick, lush, deep green yard within a couple of weeks. But when they look outside days later, disappointment sets in. The grass still looks thin, yellow, patchy, and lifeless. Some areas improve only slightly, while others seem unchanged or even worse than before. Believing they simply chose the wrong product, they spend even more money on premium fertilizers that promise golf course results. Yet the outcome rarely changes. The frustrating truth is that, in many cases, the fertilizer isn't actually the problem. The real issue lies beneath your feet, hidden inside the soil itself. And until you fix that hidden problem, no expensive fertilizer can deliver the beautiful lawn you've been hoping for. The biggest secret that many homeowners never hear is that most lawns already contain plenty of essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These nutrients don't magically disappear from the soil overnight. Instead, they often become locked away, making them impossible for grass roots to absorb. Imagine placing a starving person inside a room filled with food but locking every cabinet and refrigerator. The food is there, yet it cannot be reached. That's exactly what happens to your lawn when the soil's pH level falls outside the ideal range. Soil pH may sound like a complicated scientific term, but it's actually one of the most important factors in successful lawn care. Think of it as the master switch that controls whether your grass can access the nutrients already sitting in the soil. When the pH stays between approximately 6.2 and 7.0, the roots easily absorb everything they need. Growth becomes stronger, color turns darker, and the lawn naturally becomes thicker over time. However, when the soil becomes too acidic, that invisible door closes. The nutrients remain trapped, no matter how much fertilizer you continue adding. Instead of feeding your lawn, you're simply wasting money while the nutrients eventually wash away with rainwater. This is one of the biggest reasons so many lawns struggle despite receiving regular fertilizer applications every season. But why does soil become acidic in the first place? Surprisingly, nature itself is often responsible. Every rainfall slowly washes important minerals like calcium and magnesium deeper into the ground, beyond the reach of grass roots. Year after year, this gradual process lowers the soil's pH without homeowners ever noticing. If you live in an area that receives frequent rainfall, there's a good chance your soil has become more acidic over time. Certain trees, including pine and oak, can make the problem even worse by naturally contributing acidic organic matter to the soil. As acidity increases, grass loses access to more and more nutrients, eventually leaving it weak, pale, and vulnerable to weeds, moss, and disease. The lawn may appear hungry, but in reality it's surrounded by nutrients it simply cannot use. This is why blindly buying another bag of fertilizer often leads to disappointment. Before spending another dollar, it's far more important to understand the condition of your soil. Fortunately, discovering the truth is easier than most people think. A simple soil pH test kit, which costs only a few dollars, can reveal exactly what's happening beneath your lawn in just a few minutes. Instead of guessing, you'll know whether acidity is preventing your grass from thriving. If your pH is already within the ideal range, then your lawn may genuinely need additional nutrients. But if the soil is too acidic, correcting that imbalance should always come first. Once the pH returns to a healthy level, your grass can finally unlock and absorb the nutrients that have been sitting in the soil all along. Many homeowners are shocked to see how dramatically their lawn improves after addressing this single issue. The color becomes richer, growth becomes more vigorous, and thin patches gradually begin filling in without relying on excessive fertilizer. This simple understanding completely changes the way you think about lawn care. When you understand the science behind soil pH, lawn care becomes less about spending money and more about working with nature. That's the difference between treating symptoms and solving the real problem. Before reaching for another costly fertilizer bag, take a closer look at the soil beneath your feet. You may discover that the healthiest lawn you've ever wanted has been waiting there all along, needing only the right conditions to unlock its full potential. Now comes the question every homeowner wants answered. If acidic soil is preventing your grass from using the nutrients it already has, how do you fix it without spending hundreds of dollars on expensive lawn treatments? The answer may surprise you because it's something many people already have sitting in their kitchen. Ordinary baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, can help gently raise the pH of acidic soil when used correctly. It's not a miracle product, and it certainly isn't magic, but it does offer a simple, affordable way to improve soil conditions for lawns that have tested too acidic. The important phrase here is tested too acidic. Before applying anything, the very first step should always be testing your soil. A simple pH meter or soil testing kit takes only a few minutes to use and can save you from making costly mistakes. If your soil measures below a pH of 6.0, carefully raising the pH may help your lawn unlock the nutrients that are already present. However, if your soil is already close to neutral or slightly alkaline, adding baking soda can actually create new problems instead of solving the old ones. That's why guessing is never a good strategy. Testing first gives you confidence that you're treating the real issue rather than chasing symptoms. Once you've confirmed that your soil is acidic, moderation becomes the key to success. A light solution mixed with water and applied evenly to damp soil is far safer than dumping dry powder directly onto the lawn. Small, gradual adjustments give the soil time to respond naturally without shocking the grass or damaging its root system. More is definitely not better. Many people assume that doubling the amount will produce twice the results, but lawn care doesn't work that way. Healthy soil improves through patience and consistency, not through excessive applications. Applying a mild treatment every couple of weeks allows the pH to rise slowly while reducing the risk of overcorrecting the soil. Timing also plays an important role. Early morning or late evening is the safest time to apply any soil treatment because cooler temperatures reduce stress on the grass. Applying solutions during the hottest part of the day can increase moisture loss from the leaves and place unnecessary pressure on an already struggling lawn. Moist soil also helps the solution move into the root zone where it's actually needed instead of drying on the surface. As the soil chemistry begins to improve over the following weeks, many homeowners notice small but encouraging changes. The first difference is usually the color. That dull yellow-green appearance slowly transforms into a richer, healthier shade of green. Soon after, the lawn begins growing more evenly as individual grass plants produce additional shoots, naturally increasing thickness without requiring constant reseeding. Areas that once looked weak and sparse often begin filling in because the roots can finally absorb the nutrients that have been trapped in the soil all along. This is where many people realize that the problem was never a lack of fertilizer. It was the soil's inability to make use of what was already available. Once the pH reaches the ideal range, your lawn becomes far more efficient at feeding itself. At that point, expensive fertilizer programs become much less important because your grass is finally working the way nature intended. To support that healthy growth even further, many gardeners also recycle common household materials instead of buying costly lawn products. Used coffee grounds, for example, can provide a slow, gentle source of nitrogen after the soil has been corrected. Since the coffee has already been brewed, the grounds are much closer to neutral than fresh coffee, and can be spread lightly across the lawn without significantly affecting soil pH. As they break down, they release nutrients gradually while also adding valuable organic matter that improves soil structure over time. Another inexpensive household ingredient sometimes used is powdered milk. It supplies calcium, which helps stabilize soil conditions while also encouraging beneficial microorganisms that naturally recycle organic matter into nutrients plants can use. These microbes act like a hidden workforce beneath your lawn, constantly improving soil health and supporting stronger root development. Together, proper pH management, organic matter, and healthy microbial activity create an environment where grass can thrive naturally instead of depending on repeated applications of expensive products. The biggest lesson is that successful lawn care isn't about buying the most expensive fertilizer on the shelf. It's about understanding what your soil actually needs before spending money on treatments that may never solve the real problem. When you focus on the health of the soil itself, every other part of lawn care becomes easier. Grass grows stronger, roots become healthier, weeds have a harder time competing, and your yard begins looking greener with less effort and lower long-term costs. Rather than chasing quick fixes and marketing promises, investing a few minutes in understanding your soil can completely change the way you care for your lawn for years to come.